So this will be a brand new series that I'll be starting up called Don't Get Drafted into the Wrong Franchise. And this will be volume 1 starring Rudy Gay. As he was drafted into the Sacramento Kings in the mid 2000s, and that franchise was in the midst of a transition after the success of Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, and Peja Stojakovic. And that transition wasn't just only on the player personnel side, also through the ownership. But a lot of the dysfunction that existed within the Sacramento Kings really started from up top, from ownership down. And in the most recent years, we've seen a lot of agents begin to speak out for some of their clients that are about to get drafted into the league, of how through small manipulation tactics that they avoid certain teams, because now in this media landscape, word gets out faster about how some franchises are really to the detriment of certain players' careers. But Rudy Gay spoke on his time with the Sacramento Kings. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Like most of my career, yo, I'm in some goofy ass shit. Bro, I gave the Kings some of my prime years.
That's
bro.
a fact.
Yeah, nah.
Bro.
And you don't get enough credit for that.
That's what I'm saying, bro. 22, like 7 and 6.
Cooking.
At that point was a lot. Now it's like you be a third leading scorer, average 22. But I gave them my best years, bro. The organization was just in the middle. Toronto was the same way. They hired new people. I got caught up in the middle of that. Sacramento was, you know what I'm saying, you had Cuz who was young and didn't know what to fucking do. He just did what he wanted. Shout out to Cuz though. Love you, boy.
He wasn't the only one in the franchise that was doing whatever he wanted. It amazes me when the NBA media sees a player kind of move around like that, but they don't really question what's going on within the franchise. Because we don't have to go to the tippy top to find out what's happening. We could just go to the executive level. As one of their guys, Jeff David, was eventually outed by the feds of stealing over $13 million from the Sacramento Kings. But it's not until you find out how he got away with it before he was caught, which was more telling of the Sacramento Kings organization. You see, one of the insurance companies that had their names on the advertisements in the arena sent a payment to the Sacramento Kings, and which Jeff was responsible for. And he set up a shell bank account under a different name, very similar to the Sacramento Kings, but it was his. And he took that money and ended up buying apartments on the coastal lines of Manhattan Beach in California. And his plan was to flip those homes, take the profits, and put it right back into the Sacramento Kings bank account, which I don't know how the fuck he planned on doing that without it being discovered. But you know what? It wouldn't shock me if he was never going to be discovered anyway. Because the only reason the Kings had found out that this happened is that he accidentally left paperwork showing the wire transfers. And a brand new employee who was obsessed with forensic accounting found those papers and then ended up doing her own research in her off time to figure out what was going on with some of these wire transfers, because she did not recognize the bank account that the money was wired to. You see all the things that had to fall in line for him to get caught, but that shows you the dysfunction that was going on within that franchise, that they did not even realize one of their advertisers that they had posted on the sidelines every single night, that the check never cleared from them. That shows you the dysfunction that really started up top within that franchise. So you can only imagine what kind of guidance to be a pro that DeMarcus Cousins had to go on when he arrived in Sacramento. That shit was a failing venture from the moment he was drafted.
But just putting a whole lot of energy to a player that wasn't really ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you throw me in there and you expect me. I'm still like, bro, I'm 27, like 26. I'm like Zebo, but man, it is what it is, man. I still went out there and tried to do the best I could. Coach Malone, which is one of my favorite coaches. That's my man. Like, he tried his hardest, man. But that organization wasn't, I'm happy they got there, but man, the thing about it is with the contract that I signed, I read up with him. So I read up on the premises that Mike Malone was going to be there. I ain't never told nobody this. Bro, I signed the contract. 2 days later, they fired him.
And they brought in fucking Baked Potato Face to be like, yo, I'm here to vibe out. Huh?
Baked Potato Face.
George Karl. They brought in George Karl. Melo has issues with him. But you know what? Rudy Gay and Melo right here, they were in the NBA during a transitional phase where the league was starting to embrace the newer coaches. And more than half the league had coaches that came from a prior era, 10 to 15 years earlier, in which the authority figure was the coach, then the players. But I would say around the time Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James was drafted, they were the beginning of the era where young guys just drafted in would instantly be given the keys of a franchise. It definitely was not like that for Kobe or Jordan or anyone prior. So not only the league had a tough time accepting brand new coaches that were younger, they also was giving high profile lottery draft picks the keys to the franchise off rip, even before they played a regular season game.
We talking about?
I forgot. Oh, shit.
That's another thing, bro.
The biggest bozo in the history of
both of
coaches.
Son.
Yeah, yo, you definitely was part of the chapter. You, cuz. Y'all
Nah,
I
son.
was definitely part of the chapter.
Yeah.
Rudy Gay, hold on, go down.
Come on, son.
Rudy Gay told, welcome to basketball hell.
I said that in confidence, man. And
This nigga over here trying to sell books.
And part of that basketball hell, was George Karl actually going through that same transition. He was not used to the NBA doing that, just giving guys that just came in the keys to the franchise without really even playing a game yet. And there was a clash between him and Melo for that reason. And eventually, a few years later, it seems like there was a clash between him and DeMarcus Cousins over the same thing.
he's trying to sell books, but like,
Yo,
check this
listen,
out.
man, it ain't me. It's Rudy now.
Bro, let me tell you something.
Now you gonna start taking shots at you on Twitter.
That's crazy though, bro. That's some fair shit. But anyway, he he coming in there, and I'm already disgruntled. I'm out there, like you said, I'm playing through shit. Like, bro, when you get to that point, it's like every day, man, you look at your phone, like, bro, your agent, like, bro, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. He comes in, you know how he is. Yeah, we're gonna do something. I'm like, bro, you don't even know what the fuck you getting into. Like, you ain't been in Sacramento yet. You telling me what you gonna do, man? Fuck out of here. So I said, bro, nah, look, all right.
Once again, that energy right there is from George Karl being from that era of coaches where the ranking command started with the coach first, then the superstars, then the players below him. In today's NBA, it's definitely the superstar first, then the coach, then the regular cast of players. Unless there's a co-star, sometimes it's the superstar first, then the co-star, then the coach. That's the power ranking. But once again, Carmelo Anthony, Rudy Gay, they came into the league where they were transitioning those rankings to superstar first, then coach.
Thanks so. Welcome to basketball hell, nigga. You know what I'm saying? This is what you got. But you know, he's so arrogant to the point where it's like you ain't the right person for this. You know what I mean?
Right.
We had the right person. We had Mike Malone. That motherfucker's trying to win 2 championships.
Yeah.
But that shit was whack though. I don't like how he did that.
And things gotten so bad in Sacramento, they eventually fired George Karl within a year. That shit didn't make any sense at all, what they did.
I also think cuz caught a little bit of my energy from dealing with old boy coming from Denver.
Yeah.
And when he got to, because I think he was out for a little bit. He was, he was dealing with something, some illness that he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So
The coach had throat cancer, I believe. George Karl had throat cancer, and he took some time off. But once again, the league was going through that transitional phase. By the time he came back, there were a number of franchises giving the keys to a lot of rookie players off rip. KD, Westbrook, and others. They all came into the league while he had that time off, and that eventually is what the league is now. That's the culture. You draft LaMelo Ball, he instantly get the keys to the franchise, even though he really hasn't proven himself.
by the time he got the sack, he was starting to come back like, okay, I can come in, and I've been around the makeup of this team before. Yeah. I've been around some crazy shit before. Yeah. I just had these crazy motherfuckers in Denver. I could deal with these crazy motherfuckers. Right? So I think that was the mindset. And the mindset was to try to get Cuz to buy into whatever he wanted to do. And Cuz was just at a point where, first of all, the message wasn't as clear to Cuz at that point in time. And now he's a young boy he coming into himself. He doing what he want to do. That's basically his shit out there coming into, Sac was his shit at an early age.
Yeah.
So he going on that same trajectory of, I got to deal with a disciplinarian right now. Okay, he gonna try to control me. I'm not letting him control me.
Yeah.
I saw what you just did to somebody that I respect, which was, you know what I mean? I saw that. I wear 15 because of that. I headband because of that.
Yeah. He looked up to him.
You know what I'm saying? So now I see, and now we getting him?
Right. He already had energy towards him.
It was already energy there.
But
the energy
honestly,
to me was probably, I can mold this, I can fix this, I can control this, and you can't control.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, like I ain't giving George no credit, but to be honest with you, the Cole Cuz situation with how he was and how he acted wasn't his fault. It was the organization's fault. You know what I'm saying? When he got there, the organization was disgruntled. It was like all over. Like they didn't know who was the owner. They didn't know whether he was going to move or whatever.
Facts. The Kings had these two owners that were brothers. They were in rap videos. These guys had ventures out in Las Vegas. You don't know what the hell they was doing. The Kings did not look like that was their priority.
So, he walking in every day like, what's going on? Like, you drafted me and put me up here, and I'm the face of this bullshit.
Right.
So a lot of that, that energy was just like, Cuz just getting fed up, and that will feed in. And I've been there, like, it'll feed into a lot of other shit, your teammates and all that stuff. But he was still young. He didn't really know it out. He didn't know how to deal with it at that time. You know what I'm saying? But Cuz, like you said, generational talent, man. He could go.
Will he have benefited from like you said, like you read up under the caveat that Mike Malone is the head coach of this team. Yeah, and then get him out of here.
But that's the crazy thing about it. That's just like what I said before. Like that's the uncertainty of just going to work every day, and that's not a good. You know what I'm saying? And we were winning at that time.
Right.
The reason he got fired had nothing to do with the team. You know what I'm saying? And Cuz was just like, this shit I've been seeing the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like this is terrible. You know what I'm saying? So
and he voicing his opinion
every time.
But
every
like
time.
voicing the opinion have valid points. But not really knowing how to voice his opinion.
He's just emotional and say things.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, like on some Kanye stuff.
Some Kanye shit.
He be right sometimes, though. You know what I mean? He be right sometimes. That's a perfect, Cuz be right sometimes, but
it probably was a lot for Cuz to handle. That was a lot. That's a big personality to deal with. Like you got to be ready for that. You know what I mean? Like it's a different mindset and like emotion. Emotional, like stress, distress, all of it. And one with dealing with situations like that. When you the young man, white hat. You trying to bring an organization, organization was trying to clean up the debt.
Right.
You know what I mean? They had runs, with Bibby and that run, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
That shit was gone by the time.
So now all that shit leaves.
Bibby already.
They catching the rebuild.
Bibby in his crib lifting weights and shit.
Still talking about Bibby. I'm like, man, listen, man, I wasn't even.
Bibby lifting weights. But that is a lot for Cousins to handle. It's just a lot. There's so many transitions through ownership, through coaches. And the most important dynamic that they're kind of overlooking is that George Karl comes from an era where the coach was the leader off rip. He led that team with Gary Payton, I believe in 96, to the finals against Michael Jordan. And around that time, the leader is really the coach. Even Michael Jordan, the leader of that team was Phil Jackson, then Jordan. That's a chain of command. And now just a few years after that, I would say, was it 6 years after that, the league has transitioned to the rookies just coming in. If they have a name, they're a star in college or they're a hyped up high school prospect, they were given the keys off rip. And I believe it led to a lot of resentment from George Karl. Did not understand that power dynamic. That's why a lot of coaches around that time got phased out. We seen the same thing from Jerry Salone and Williams up in Utah. All those coaches, I would say from the early 90s all the way to the early 2000s, they got phased out because the chain of command just switched. A lot of these lottery picks held up a lot of power to these franchises as far as bringing in revenue. And it kind of blurred the hierarchy between coach and player.
even.
Y'all catching the rebuild.
Yeah.
He at a different age now. Now he reaching his peak years.
Right.
Yeah.
So you reaching your peak years, but you like Melo was saying, like reaching your peak years, but having been in the league and having the knowledge. Now you on the team with Cuz and you watching him go through this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the craziest situation that you had to see?
He trying to get traded at this.
Yeah.
He on the phone.
I'm on the phone every day. Like, bro.
He trying to get the fuck out of there.
So what teams you got today, man? Oh, who they gonna give up? Oh yeah. I want to play with him.
Did Rondo help that?
Rondo was caught in the middle of a situation too, because you know what I'm saying, he just came from Dallas, which you know.
Oh yeah, that was a nasty situation.
Nasty situation.
Yeah,
trying to
with Carlisle.
Yeah, so he
was nasty.
You know, Carlisle, he's not the coach for him. You know what I'm saying? So he was trying to get paid. So it was like it was a shitstorm of people with different kind of issues they dealing with. You know what I mean? And it wasn't right. It wasn't right. Although we still play good basketball, but it's like
another problem with certain franchises is that they just get guys because of past performance. They don't really look at team and cultural fits. Rondo was having a lot of issues up in Dallas. I don't know what the fuck made them think that they should bring someone coming fresh off a situation like that into their franchise, which was already dealing with a bunch of dysfunctional situations. It didn't make any sense. With them having a new owner that just spent all that money in that team, it wouldn't shock me if they were just bringing in names to make sure that they sell tickets.
I mean, it starts up top, right?
They saying Vladi.
Nah, Vladi.
Oh, y'all had the ownership problems and all that. The brothers and shit had the Palms Hotel. What's the brothers?
Yeah, the brothers were too busy in Vegas, man. It's almost like they had too many startups going at the same fucking time. They were involved in a lot of shit. And Vladi was fucking up. Let's not make no mistake about that. And that was way before the Luka pick. The Kings, I'm not gonna lie, man, they had a string of bad luck.
The Shalhoub or some shit like that?
The Maloofs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
said Tony Shalhoub. Damn, talking about a bunch of monks.
You're right.
Oh, damn.
I had a lot of shit going on over there.
Man, I told you, like, yo, I got like that's 2 times that happened to me in my top years. That like, all right, y'all making a change doing all this. All right, well, let's do this, let's do that.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, I mean, it's business. Business of basketball, man. Business of basketball.
Welcome to the party.
But yeah, it starts at top, bro. You got a young owner that just, you know, that know nothing about basketball, that just trying to make basketball decisions.
Playing 2K in real life?
Yeah. I want to get that rich. You know what I mean? Let's think of something, Melo. Let's create something.
That is definitely some rich shit to do. Oh, man. Those Maloof brothers definitely had their hands in too many pots. But going forward, I wouldn't be shocked if certain generational talents come into the draft and they make it be known, just like how certain football players let it be known that they don't want to play for certain teams. And in a way, that'll be a blessing because certain players, you take a look at Victor Wembanyama getting drafted to the Spurs, that kind of guarantee him at least a floor of a great career, opposed to him getting drafted to the Charlotte Hornets, who for years can't even get a draft pick right, have never shown that they could develop the actual players that they draft and re-sign them to large contracts. They only do that for the players that other teams develop. Or even worse, he could have went to the Detroit Pistons. But who knows? Rudy Gay's career could have been different. It's no wonder Rudy Gay eventually went to the San Antonio Spurs, who could at least give him a floor of having a long-term solid NBA career. But not all these franchises are created equal, and it's a good thing that the league has sort of changed the lottery process to not guarantee teams that completely tank at least a top 5 pick. And the Pistons in this year's lottery are a prime example of it. So it is what it is. Until next time, you fellas, stay safe. Peace.